Let me start with congratulations. Oppenheimer is, yeah, it's kind of good. You know, I'll start. I'll
Thank
start
you.
like I'll start like that. Have you seen it in IMAX 70 millimeter?
I saw it in London at the BFI, and it was incredible. It was like the first time I saw it was on IMAX, and the sound system there was incredible, and it was a great experience. I brought my parents with me. Yeah.
Yeah, what is it actually like for you after spending so much time working on the music and just, diving deep into a project like this, sitting in a movie theater, especially like an IMAX 70 millimeter
Yeah.
presentation, and like taking it in? When you listen to the music, do you ever hear things you're like, man, I should have tweaked that? It would have been better like this? Or do you can you just let go and say, this is great. It works. I'm so happy.
No, I definitely let go of that. Like I let go of that until the last day of the dub, and we're done. That's we do everything we can up to that moment, and when I'm if I have these have these great collaborators, and with Chris, we're on the same page. We feel the same about the music, and we're finished when we're done. So it's incredibly rewarding for me to sit there in the theater and just enjoy. That's why I love working on these movies, and why I love working on movies, and because it's always rewarding. You put so much of yourself into this. You put so much of your time and your and in your feelings, and so you want to feel like you get something back, and that's one of the times when you feel like it's you're getting something back. So I love it.
I have a ton of random questions for you today, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
jump on in. What do you think would surprise people to learn about being a composer in Hollywood?
Um. Um. Well, I think I think for when I was a kid, before jumping into this job, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was like I had a very romantic image of it. So you're sitting in your cabin and you're writing all this music for yourself, and then it's done, and you send it somewhere, and then it gets, they put it into the movie. And that image is not really how it works out in reality. Unfortunately for me, I've been able to finding I have these incredible collaborators with, so it's a very respectful job. We're doing it together, and we push each other. Well, we're pushing the music forward. We're pushing the boundaries of the music forward. But it's a very it's the only thing that's working against us is time. So it's not, and that a lot of people think that music and time is not, you can take your, they don't understand the relationship that there is deadlines.
Yeah, I just spoke to Daniel about his work on Ferrari, and he told me he wrote the score in like 5 days or something crazy because it had to get done. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
No, I don't know if I could do that. That seems terrifying.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. But what is it like actually? Because you worked with Nolan for the first time on Tenet. What
Mm.
was it like when he called you for not only Tenet, but for this and said,
Hmm.
hey, I have a project. Maybe you want to do the music. Like, what are those calls like?
Well, for Tenet, it was incredibly surprising, because I didn't think, I never thought that I would get the call like that. But it was also extremely exciting, because I mean I love everything he's done with both Hans Zimmer and David Julian, and I was a big fan of those movies and the music. So getting the chance to work with Chris, and I think the way that he works with music in his movies is incredibly unique. It's almost like it's its own characters in his films, and to be able to get insight in his mind and see how that works. And so on Tenet, it was a great experience. And then after Tenet, we kept in contact. We were watching movies, we were talking about film, we were talking about music. But he is also he's also a little secretive of him. So like he doesn't talk about like, hey, I'm working on this now. Or so the phone calls about reading scripts, and always comes out of the blue. So he was like, hey, you want to read the script tomorrow for my new film? And you have no idea what you're about to get into. But that's also the exciting part of it.
Yeah, I spoke to Matt and Emily about how Nolan approached them to be in the movie, and Emily had to read it at his house, and he
Yeah.
gave Matt the script for like a night so he could read it the next morning. Did he make you go to his house?
For Tenet, I read it at his house. For Oppenheimer, I read it at the office. But it's very much in person. And I love that.
What the thing is, like, it has to be weird though, even for you, when you go to the office to read the script and you know that like he knows you're reading it at that time, and like you know what I mean, like you're trying to digest it. Are you one of these people that can read the script and sort of get it all in like instantly, or do you need like do you like having more time with it to more digest it?
Well, I like the instant impression that you get of when you see or hear something or you read something. Obviously, that it's going to change with time, but I like, immediately after reading the script and then like never read anything like it. Honestly, like it was, you immediately go into his head and into his mind. You're seeing the world through his eyes, and with immediately I understand that that's what the music needs to feel like. You need to channel that complex genius personality through so many different spectrums of music. And that's kind of what I took away from that first read.
When you are reading it, are you writing down some initial impressions of what you're feeling so you could sort of remember that when you start composing? Or is it sort of just you're reading it and just taking it in and then you're going to, you know what I mean, write later?
No, I'm just taking it in, just like if I would listen or watch something. I just,
Sure. I read that when Nolan came to you, he mentioned violin, that was the instrument that he was thinking about. Do you enjoy that when a director gives you that kind of guidance early on? And then what was it like thinking about the violin for writing the music?
Yeah, I love that. I love any kind of ideas. And especially the idea of the violin was extremely exciting for me because my wife Serena Gorns, and she's an incredible violinist, and to be able to work with her and start off, going to the studio and experiment with the tones of the violin and the vibratos and how to go from, I think why Chris was so excited about the violin was that it's a fretless instrument, and you can go from a vibrato being most beautiful and romantic to in a split second change into something horrific and manic and neurotic, and how to have that and channel Oppenheimer's personality. That was something that we're out for.
You ever sneak in references to other scores the way that John Williams can do it?
I don't think anyone can do it the way John Williams is doing, but I don't actually know the way that he does it, but I don't do it with intentionally. But maybe if you tell me that this sounds like this, but I don't do it intentionally. No.
What are some of the sounds and themes that people can look forward to in the music of Oppenheimer?
Well, I think one thing that was unique for this, or a couple of things that were unique for this score was obviously the strings and the violins, but also the performance of the violins and the strings. One of the first things that Chris showed me was this. I went into a visual effects meeting at the IMAX, and I saw some of the visuals that he had been working on with Andrew Jackson, and you see the spinning of the atoms, and that visual to me was just so spellbinding, and I've never seen anything like it. And I was like, that's how I want the music to sound like. And it was also kind of scary because how do I get that music to sound like that? Because I know I wanted to work with tempo, and I know I wanted to record it live with musicians, but how to get those tempo increasing like that, doing it in one take, in one flawless take, was the challenge. And we implemented a new recording technique that I didn't think it was humanly possible to play it, but with this incredible group of musicians, we were able to do it all, these tempo changes all in one take, and you can hear it in in the piece that starts with Kenneth Branagh asking Cillian Murphy, like, can you hear the music? And it starts off with this piece of music.
Yeah, I read that you did the recording, and I could be wrong, like in this intense 5-day period.
Yeah.
Was that can you talk about that? Like spending, diving in for 5 straight days or whatever you did
Yeah, we did. I think it was 5 to 10 days of recording, but I think we spent just 3 days on figuring out how to record this unique piece of music with these tempo changes. 21 tempo changes, starting from, one tempo and just ending 3 times faster and doing it all in one take. And I think that human touch of it, not because first I was thinking we have to do it in separate chunks, but to do it all in one take, they really created that chaos of the spinning atoms. And yeah.
Which when I speak to a lot of composers, directors, they always talk about how there's always something that they continually go back to because they're not 100% happy. Was there a piece of music in Oppenheimer that you kept going back to because you're like, I think I can tweak it a little bit more?
I think for us, it was the last piece that came to place was the music that comes after the bomb. Because you really the state that Oppenheimer is in is so complex. You're thinking, you're seeing these people, you see these people cheering, but like, what's he feeling inside? That's that took some time, and that we worked on that. That was kind of the last piece of the puzzle. But other than that, I think for the movie, you have the first act of the movie. It's like it's these complex, beautiful, melodic, intimate violins and strings, and it starts off with this beautiful intimate performance and ends in an opera kind of, and you're going through that personal growth. But then there's the second act of the movie where all these theories and all these scribbles actually, it turns into an actual product. It turns into a bomb, and you see them actually, dealing with building it, hoisting it up, and the whole music spectrum and the color and tone of the music changes in that moment from this organic live instrumentation to just these 3 sounds of like this pumping bass, and then you have this like little ticking of a metallic ticking. And that really propels you to, these guys are about to blow themselves up, or they could potentially destroy the mankind. Yeah.
Yeah. This might be one of my last questions because I'm almost out of time. And it's a more serious question. But one of the things that's going on in Hollywood right now, and one of the reasons SAG and WGA are on strike is AI. Mm-hmm. And I've been asking other composers and a lot of people about their thoughts on AI, because it can be a tool for good, but it's also very scary because of what it could mean. When you think of AI, are you scared of it? Are you like, what's your take on it and what it could mean for what you do in Hollywood?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I haven't fully started using it yet in whatever I do, but I'm definitely interested in this looking, using it as a tool, and I think that's kind of what the conversation is about. You can use it as a tool, but it would never substitute the artistry of people and the players and the performers. Just like I said, like when I described the scene, having those 70 people performing that piece of music created this breath and created this organic sense of chaos and excitement, and it's filling the room with air. And that's something, when we recorded, filling room with air, and that's something that will never be able to, you can never replace that. And so I think, as long as you hopefully you just use it, as a tool for yourself. Yeah.
Totally. My last thing for you, actually, are you working on anything else now, or what's coming up for you?
No, I mean, right now I'm here. I'm going to watch a movie in New York tomorrow. And, it was a very, it was such a, I loved working on this movie, and it was so, I spent a lot of time into it and a lot of my effort. And, I feel like I learned something. I feel like I'm getting something back from it. And right now after I'm done, I just want to enjoy summer, enjoy my time with my kids, and just really, take some time. And so I don't have anything down the pipeline. It just has to be the right thing.
Sir, I'm a big fan of your work. Thank you for giving me your time. And listen, man, Oppenheimer is fantastic. I have nothing but positive things to say. Appreciate everything.
Yeah, love your questions. So fun to talk to you, and hope to do it soon again.